Margherita's Journey. After the October 2023 flood, condition of NS10 connects Sikkim to Siliguri is not so good. However, I reached Siliguri on time since I got a good vehicle. From the bypass from auto rickshaw, they're asking for 450 to go to NJP railway station, while others were asking 250. By sharing a ride, I reached the railway station for just 100. In reality, those auto drivers were not exactly trying to cheat. If they take 5 passengers at 100 each, they earn 500 instead of 450. However, if you are traveling to NJP for the first time, you might wonder if the actual fare is 450. My fellow traveler from Sikkim had already informed me that the fare from the bypass to NJP was only 100, which made things easier for me. Since the train was nearly an hour and a half late, I got the chance to have some flatbreads freshly made at a shop outside the railway station to take along for the journey. I had already bought some fried eggs from home. I bought enough flatbreads to last for 2 full meals and 1 snack, and then headed toward the railway station. Like me, many people were waiting for the train, some speaking Nepali, others Bengali and Assamese, where there was a significant presence of Nepali-speaking people moving in and out of the station. I also got the opportunity to talk with the people from Senapati, Manipur, whose face looked very from the flames of violence in recent years.
हजुर हुन्छ मणिपुरको सेनापति है हजुरको हजुर
And with people from Kangla-Tombi who had been affected by the heat of the conflict. The Nepali spoken by the people from Manipur wasn't mixed like Assamese Nepali, or did not feel distinctly different like the Nepali spoken in Sikkim. Their speech closely resembled the Nepali spoken in Nepal itself. They traveled by train as far as Dimapur in Nagaland and took a bus to Manipur. Many trains heading to Assam also passes through Dimapur. At the railway station, announcements were being made in various languages. Just then, an announcement was made in Nepali as well. West Bengal is the state in India with the largest number of Nepali-speaking people. Places like Darjeeling, Siliguri, Kalimpong and Jaigaon are home to dense Nepali-speaking populations. It is no surprise that this railway station also made announcements in Nepali. Though the Awadh Assam Express took several delays at multiple crossings during the 17-hour journey, it was only late by 1 hour and 20 minutes in total. Outside the Tinsukia railway station, auto drivers were busy calling out to the crowds of people disembarking from the train. My friend, who had come to pick up me, was heading towards Dumduma, about 50 kilometers away. As the sunset waved goodbye, the place where I was staying during my Assam trip was a charming place called Philobari in Assamese, which in Assamese Nepali means flower garden. However, if it had been named today, it would likely have been called Chiabari or tea garden, because I didn't see any flower garden there. Everywhere my eye could see there were only tea gardens. The friends took me there said, the people here have their own tea gardens, and the friend who is providing me shelter also has his own tea garden. But I thought that these friends and the people living here might have divided the areas where they work in the tea gardens, and that they were probably just workers picking tea leaves for veggies. However, upon further understanding, I realized that these people were actually the owners of the tea garden. I also discovered that there were many Nepali-speaking people in Assam who owned hundreds of acres of tea gardens. The friends who gave me shelter also owned a few acres of tea gardens. The next day, we crossed the Dhola Sadiya bridge, passed through Assam Sadiya, and went to Ruing in Arunachal Pradesh. During this trip, I came across completely new information. I had heard that Nepali-speaking people in Arunachal Pradesh had their own land, so I thought that might be true, but it turned out that it wasn't. Nepali-speaking people in Arunachal Pradesh were allowed to work, take jobs, trade, and even lease land for farming. But they were not allowed to buy land or build house on their own land. The Nepali-speaking people who had been living there for generations had land, but it was all leased land. Many Nepali-speaking people in Arunachal Pradesh had bought land in Assam, Sadiya or other areas, and some even owned land in Nepal. In Arunachal and Assam, the land is called mato or soil. The rowing market was lively. Even though it was January, the sun was shining brightly. People were walking around the market in just their shorts, having taken off their jackets and heavy clothes. Bengalis, Biharis, and people from Adi language groups were all conversing in Nepali with Nepali speakers. Veg food for only 10 rupees more expensive than in Assam. In Assam, the Assamese traditional veg meal cost 70 rupees. Doing a meal of roti and vegetable would cost around 50 rupees. The booking counter for bus to Anini also was on the main road. Later, I met a Nepali-speaking family in Philobari who lived in Anini. If you are coming to Ruing, please ask for bus information at the counter, not for the bus conductors. Every bus conductor seemed to say that their bus was the last one. On Thursday, January 23, we stayed in Tinsukia and took a bus to Margherita the next morning on the 24th. Margherita Circle is the area in Assam with the largest number of Nepali speakers. Around 50,000 Nepali speakers live there. Among the various locations within Margherita Circle, one is called Jagun. In Assam, Jagun is also referred to as the second Nepal. Our bus was heading toward Jagun via Digboy and Ledu. Ledu is known for having the best coal in India. Many people have found employment in the coal mines here. Ledu, like other areas in Margherita Circle, has a large people of Nepali speakers. Ledu is also the last railway station on the eastern border of India. When I found that Jagun was only 14 kilometers from Jairampur, I felt like going straight to Jairampur, but my return train was on the next Sunday, so I had limited time and got off the bus at Jagun. In Assamese Nepali, getting off the bus is called Namnu, a word borrowed from Assamese. Although a similar word is used in Bengali, Nepali speakers from West Bengal don't use Namnu. Most of the shops in Jagun market were owned by Nepali people. Many of them had faces that resemble Assamese people, but they could only be identified as Nepali speakers by their language. The breakfast sent by my kind friends from Tinsukia was enjoyed with Assamese tea in a sweet shop in Jagun. In Nepal, Sikkim and most places in India, Nepali speakers don't typically run sweet shops. But in Jagun, the sweet shop was run by Nepali speakers. In the area we visited was called Ahom Pathar. On both sides of the road, there were houses of Nepali speaking people. In some houses, Nepali songs were playing. One sister offered a delicious Assamese tea along with pitha. In Assam, bread is called pitha. The various flavors and design of pitha were very tasty. 8 years ago, when I visited Assam, a Nepali-speaking sister from Guwahati had sent me pitha, stuffing that looked like flat bread rolled with ngutpak. Ngutpak is a typical Nepali sweet of Kathmandu, Nepal. This time, the pitha we ate had sesame seeds inside. After crossing a beautiful tea garden, we soon reached a Gurung settlement. However, one sister here was telling us that many of the Gurung people here sold their mattu and went to different places. In Assamese Nepali, the land is called mattu. The taste of Assamese tea we drank at her house reminded me of the tea I used to drink as a child with bread dipped in it. She told me that in Assamese Nepali, letters are called akhar. When I was a child, my father and others used to say this word, but I hadn't heard it for years until now. The Assamese Nepali people also use chinaki for acquaintances and ghurne for the traveling or turning back. In some parts of Nepal also, people say ghurni instead of farkane for returning.
भन्छ नि मान्छेले थाहा हुँदैन जमिन भनेको के हो माटो भन्छ नि आफ्नै माटो बारी आफ्नो माटो बारी खेती गृहस्थी गरेर
अरुणाचलको नेपालीहरूले नि माटो नै भन्नुहुँदो रहेछ माटो किन्ने भन्नुहुँदो रहेछ हजुर हजुर
माटै
The next house we visited belonged to my friend's sister. Her husband, a Tea tribe, had married Nepali-speaking woman. They lived in a concrete house. The Tea tribe husband said a scary experience of how 25 wild elephants had come from nearby Digboy Reserve Forest one night, which made our hair stand on end.
ग्रुप आएको है
खाली चाहिँ टिङ हुँदाखेरि डराउँछ नि पत्ता भयो भने त डम उडाएर लान्छ मान्छे
25वटा हात्ती आएको है साह्रै डर लाग्यो होला त्यो दिन त
If they had lived in a thatched house, the elephants would have destroyed it. After reaching Jagun market, my companion was really hungry, so we decided to have a meal there. The meal we had last night was in Assamese cultural style, but today we got opportunity to eat a Nepali thali.
चाहिँ नेपाली थाली हो
तपाईँ के खाना
हजुर
नेपाली
नेपाली थाली चाहिँ फरक छ आसामिज हिजो बेलुकाको खानाभन्दा यो जागुनको
We thought we might catch bus to Philabari, but the bus was not long route bus. The Assamese Nepali people call long route bus super. The place where coal is loaded in Ledu was visible from bus. Nearby, we could see the Ledu hills. Everyone's eyes went to saw the mountains in the plains. After wandering around Ledu market for a while, our bus stopped outside Ledu railway station. After leaving this far eastern station of Indian Railways, the bus headed toward Digboy. By the time we reached Digboy, it was already dark. The night view of Digboy market was very pleasant. After a long time, our bus reached Makum market. Since we could not find a bus to Philabari, we hurriedly boarded a bus to Dumduma. And the Dumdum Dunduma market, the green vegetables were quite cheap in a shop selling vitamin and pesticide medicines for tea plantations. Large bottles of medicines were neatly arranged. Since we could not find any vehicles to go to Filovari, the shopkeeper who spoke Bhojpuri as his mother tongue phone called arranged a good carrying vehicle for us. This wasn't the first time that people from Bihar who speak Bhojpuri helped Sikkim and Assam. Just because there are differences in language and customs doesn't mean that you cannot love each other. It's heartwarming to see people from different linguistic backgrounds, Himalayan Hilly and plain dwellers, living with love and cooperation. Not only in Sikkim and Assam, but also in other states of Northeast India and across various parts of India. On the return day, we gathered with several friends at a house of Tinsukia, enjoying tea, snacks, Assamese tea, pitha, orange and pizza. But what touched me most was the mutual love among people from various languages. A tea tribe woman married to a friend from Namsai in Arunachal invited us for dinner. We learned that although house rents and vehicle fares were expensive in Assam, food and beverages were much cheaper. People who work in carpentry and labor in these areas earned almost the same as a day wage of tea plantation workers. As a result, theft was quite common here. Many people in Assam raised geese. And when I heard that goose eggs were available for just 10 or 12 rupees, I was shocked. In Sikkim, a goose eggs cost 40 rupees, making it unaffordable. A friend who lived near the railway station prepared flatbreads and eggs for me to take along on the train. He had to frequently travel to towns in Arunachal like Namsai and others for water filtration work. We can travel from Tinsukia to places like Roing, Namsai, Tezu through Dunduma, and through Margherita we can go to Jairampur, Miao and Vijayanagar. All of these areas in Arunachal has a large population of Nepali-speaking people. The Tinsukia railway station was glowing due to the lights at night, and on its walls were pictures of various animals from Kaziranga Wildlife Sanctuary. The Vivek Express was a better train than the Awadh Assam. It was very clean. The windows and charging points were in good condition. It almost reached NJP on time. There were many Nepali-speaking people on the train who had been living in the area for generations. When the train stopped at Silapathar station, we met a group of women from Bhaktapur who had married and moved from Assam. Another Nepali-speaking man from Senapati, Manipur was traveling with his son and wife. In Manipur, there were Nepali language schools, and this man worked as a Nepali language teacher. However, due to the unrest there, life was very difficult for Nepali-speaking people as well. He mentioned that if he finds work in Nepal, he will not go back there. When I was going to Tinsukia a few days before, I met a 15 or 16-year-old Naga girl at my train. She was traveling with her aunt who could not speak Hindi or Nepali but spoke Bodo. The Naga girl said information about different Naga-speaking people in Hindi. The experience of traveling with people from different languages, living in harmony, really touched me. However, hearing the story of the man from Manipur made me deeply sad, as it reflected the pain of people affected by hatred that had spread in the region. This was the end of my short journey. It began with the intention of respecting and understanding the thoughts, feelings, and customs of peoples speaking different languages. Before my journey, I read a lot of information on places like Margherita, Jagun and Sadiya on Wikipedia. But I had never experienced the feelings that came from seeing the love, cooperation, and hardships of the people firsthand. I am deeply grateful to all the friends who helped me during my journey, as well as the invaluable companions from Assam, Arunachal, and Manipur who shared their precious knowledge.
चियाको बिरुवा यसलाई आसाममा चियापुली भनेर भनिन्छ नेपाली भाषामा बिरुवालाई पुली भनिन्छ सबै चियाको हाँगाहरू काटेर यसलाई यसरी रोपिन्छ कटिङ गरेको हाँगालाई अनि चियाको नयाँ बिरुवा तयार हुन्छ यो गाछलाई के भन्छ रे यो लामो लामो पत्ता भएकोलाई ठुल्ठुलो पत्ता भएकोलाई कोल है हजुर आसाममा केरालाई कोल भन्दो रहेछ हजुर ठाउँअनुसार फरक छ नि है भाषा आसामिज नेपाली भाषामा केरालाई कोल भन्छ आसामिजहरूले पनि कोल भन्छ होला त्यसै कोल है त्यसै भए नेपाल आसामको नेपाली भाषामा आसामिज मिक्स छ कति है हजुर
हिन्दी भाषी मान्छेहरूले केला भन्छ
हो केला भन्छ है हिन्दी भाषीहरूले आदिवासीहरूले के भन्छ
आदिवासीहरूले
कोलै भन्छ है हजुर
केला भन्छ नि त्यो चाहिँ आसामको भने केला भनेको गाली भनेको
ए
केला प्रयोग गर्छ भने गाली दिँदा
ए केरा भन्यो भने चाहिँ बुझ्दैन है ट्याक्कै बुझ्दैन
केला भनेको
ए गाली गरेको जस्तो सोच है चिया बगानमा भएको यस्तो बोटहरूमा यहाँ मरिचहरू पनि लगाएर खेती गर्न सकिँदो रहेछ यहाँ मरिच फलिरहेको छ देखिन्छ होला सायद यो सिँढी हो तर यो मरिच टिप्नको लागि बनाएको सिँढी हो मरिचको बोटमा माथिसम्म मरिच भएको बोटमा माथिसम्म यसबाट जान सकिन्छ आसामिज भाषामा बोटलाई रुखलाई गाछ भन्छ गछ गस गस भन्छ गस यो सब्जी चाहिँ सोयाबिन अनि सानो सानो आलु
अक्सिजन छ अहिले
कुन कुन महिना चाहिँ सिजन
भाइ सानो भाइ अहिले अक्सिजन छ हाम्रो अनि गाउँको साथीहरू नि
कुन कुन बदामी आलु पनि भन्छ यसलाई सिक्किमतिर यहाँ आसाममा चाहिँ यसलाई फुल आलु भन्छ अनि यो सँगै बदाम मिसाएको छ यो काजु किसमिसको बदाम छ होइन तर अर्को लोकल बदामको सब्जी फर्स्ट टाइम टेस्ट गर्दैछौँ